What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry Answers Arc. Last episode, we began this likely going to be a super duper long journey, and nothing too eventful happened. After all, it was the very first episode. All we know is Battler is coming back, and he's trying to take that board back from Burn Castle and them to Delta, who have apparently already started another game, and, well, I guess we have a mystery to solve then, well, or something. I don't know, either way, it's showing some first Twilight victims here. That's an interesting combination of people. Jessica, Hideyoshi, George, Genji, Rosa, and Maria. That's certainly something. Maria always survives, though, like, as long as she can. Wait, how'd you fucking die? Okay, Ushiromiya Jessica. Her corpse was found in the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. Oh, really? Murders rarely ever happen in the guest house. So, that's certainly something. The direct cause of death is unknown, but her neck was sliced open by a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could easily confirm her death with absolute certainty. Were they all killed in the same way? Ah, probably. His corpse was found in the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. Yeah, it's the same exact description. Hideyoshi, his corpse was found in a guest room on the first floor of the mansion. Okay, different room now. A demon stake has pierced through his back. Ooh. The tip of it reached as far as his lungs. Because he was lying face down on the bed, it is unthinkable that this was a suicide. Face down, pierced through his back. Okay, yeah. Okay, I guess you could assume, like, if he was on his back, that could be a suicide, like, if he propped it up somehow, all Komaida style, and just fucking leapt onto it. That would be a suicide, I guess. Maria. Yep, her corpse was found in the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. The direct cause of the death is unknown, but yeah, same thing, okay. Rosa was also in the cousin's room, and that's the same exact thing. Genji. His corpse was found in the servant waiting room on the first floor of the mansion. And interesting. All these deaths are the same, 4 of them even in the same room, and then there's Hideyoshi. That is something now, isn't it? Makes you think, like, the killer probably prepared him to be the second Twilight, and they forgot to get a 6th body? Do I press next for anything? No. Okay, then. So, is that all you need to show me? The second day, October 5th, 1986. Okay, then. So, what's going on here? I wonder if it would have shown me anything interesting if I clicked on the other people. Maybe, maybe not. But this is just the aftermath of the first 6 deaths, or has no one found the bodies yet? Hello, Shannon, Cannon, Genji, not Genji, Goda, Kyrie, Battler. Okay, yeah, they must have found the bodies already. Why are you so pissed, Natsuhi? Well, probably because Jessica died. Has Jessica ever died before Natsuhi? I don't think that's ever happened. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in this parlor. And with one exception, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder. And the culprit is among these people. Okay. Okay, that's a new figure already, sprite already for Rudolph. Whoa, whoa. That means it's conclusive, isn't it? Yeah, these are, well, I think that's a new sprite. I don't remember. Unless the culprit is a witch who committed murder with magic, that is. It was you? Are they thinking it's Natsuhi? You killed George? Killed my husband? Why? Oh, why? I didn't kill anyone. I didn't. Battler didn't lose any of his parents. He lost all 3 of his cousins, though. In a panic, and with a voice that was far from calm, in a manner that was, to put it coldly, unsightly, Aunt Natsuhi denied the suspicion placed upon her. However, there was no longer any way around it. She stood up, brushed back her long hair, pointed at Aunt Natsuhi, and said it one more time. Who in the hell are you? You're new. I mean, you're like displayed a lot alongside this game. I've been wondering, who in the hell are you? And what fucking voice do I give you? Because it's another fucking probably 5'1" girl with a cutesy-ass voice or some shit. I don't know. Maybe I should give you... What? I should give her some sort of accent, probably, right? Like... But I can't really do many accents. I can do British, but I use the British accent voice for so many characters. And Lambda Delta is already Lambda Delta. I don't know. Russian? I don't know. Let's just make up an accent. You're the culprit. Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Does that work? Who are you? Oh shit. Okay then. Oh, yeah, opening sequence. Okay, I was confused for a second, like, what's going on? This song is a lot more happy-go-lucky than the song used in Questions arc. And then Karayoku no Tori, or whatever the anime opening was. Yeah, there's that chick again. What's her name? Who is she? And there she is again. She's gotta be a human, right? Even though she was portrayed alongside... Maybe she's someone along the same lines as Battler. Or I should stop asking questions. Angie. Is she gonna show up at all? Also, the song is a bop. And there she is again. What is she doing? Huh. Certainly a lot of questions. This is Answers arc, isn't it? And you're providing me with new questions. Well, I guess I shouldn't expect it to give me every single possible answer. This song's a bop, holy shit. I'm adding... If I can find the full version of that, that's going in my playlist. That was fucking great. Umineko whatever the last thing is, probably Chiru. Whatever Chiru means. Okay. It's Natsuhi. Please open up! As she knocked loudly and repeatedly, Natsuhi yelled. Shortly after, there was a heavy clunking sound, and the sound of the door to Kinzo's study unlocking could be heard. Oh, except this is fake, because Kinzo's dead. As the door opened, a heavily sweet, venomous odor flowed out. Natsuhi was always ashamed of how she automatically grimaced at that, even though she thought it rude to the family head. Oh, hi, Krauss. Yeah, what? Why isn't she... Okay. I really sincerely doubt Natsuhi would kill anybody. I mean, it's possible. Maybe at this point the game's thinking, oh, you're suspecting the shit out of Krauss and Natsuhi, aren't you? Well, yeah, but no. Krauss was waiting for her inside the study. Natsuhi flew into his arms. His father, is he... Calm yourself. Dr. Nanjo is examining him now. With an uncertain gait, Natsuhi walked towards the center of the study, supported by Krauss. So was Krauss not in the parlor, so that one line about there being no other humans on this island other than those inside the parlor? Krauss doesn't exist. Well, he probably does. I feel like it'd be a weird cop-out. But isn't Genji dead? What? Wait. There, a dignified bed fitting for the Ushiromiya family head could be seen, along with Nanjo, Genji, and Kumasawa. Hold your fucking horses. What? This must be a flashback, then. Dr. Nanjo, is father... After sighing deeply, Nanjo left the side of the bed. Okay, this is a flashback. Or, at least, I guess that scene at the beginning was a flash forward. After sighing deeply, Nanjo left the side of the bed. This must be his death. On the bed, Kinzo could be seen lying down, asleep. He died peacefully. Rip Kinzo. I don't think Kinzo had any regrets. Natsuhi, probably? Father! Father! Yep, I'm good at guessing these things still. Well, not really. Sobbing, Natsuhi slumped over the chest of that man, who had fallen into a sleep from which he would never awaken. Oh boy, time to actually use the Kumasawa voice in context. Madam, please, stay strong. Father! Father! This is just too sudden. Ah! Thank you, Genji. Natsuhi couldn't stop crying over the death of the man whom she had loved like a second father. Kumasawa rubbed Natsuhi's back, consoling her. And Krauss is just like, sweet money time! Krauss slumped into his late father's favorite chair. By sitting there, he might have been immersed in memories of his departed father. Or perhaps he thought that by sitting there, he might be able to understand just a bit of the madness of Kinzo's later years. Also dog bark. Which he had never been able to comprehend before. And Nanjo, just as he had when Kinzo once sat in that chair, contemplating a chess move, turned his back and looked down over the outside world through a crack in the curtains. If only he'd been sick in bed for a year or so first. I do wish he could have died after a grace period during which the proper arrangements could have been made. It's the other way around. We should be glad that he was in high spirits until the very end. At least that's true as far as public appearances are concerned. Nanjo understood that as well. Ushiromiya Kinzo, who had risen like a comet and glittered like a supernova in the post-war business world, had died. His funeral would probably be of a fantastic scale, and it would also be the ceremony marking Krauss's inheritance of the headship. He would have to arrange everything as the host of the event, carry out funeral diplomacy perfectly, and make it clear to all that the Ushiromiya family still had enormous influence in the political and financial spheres. As Nanjo watched Krauss, he was vividly reminded of the time when Kinzo had been suddenly selected as the Ushiromiya family head, when Kinzo had been lost and confused. In this way, he was able to understand Krauss's distress and sympathize with it. Okay, so if this is in the past, then yeah, that whole line about the only humans on the island exist within this part where everyone was there, okay. I just hit my pop filter. Natsuhi's sobs eventually subsided. Watching this and leaving Kumasawa to care for Natsuhi as a fellow woman, Genji returned to where Krauss was. And as though asking what should be done, Genji lowered his head slightly. Which one of you are talking? Genji and I will deal with the formalities. Nope, it's Nanjo. Genji and I will deal with the formalities. Krauss, perhaps you should contact the relatives first. Krauss, with his hands still over his eyes, didn't respond. Perhaps even though he had known this day would come, Krauss really couldn't hide his shock at how suddenly it had reached them. Leave this to Dr. Nanjo and me. Krauss, I suggest that you first speak with Madame. Maybe she heard that, or maybe it was a coincidence. As though responding to Genji's words, Natsuhi came over. Her eyes were red from crying so much, but she apparently understood the heavy responsibility that had been imposed on them even better than Krauss did. Starting now, you are the head of the glorious Ushiromiya family. Let us show everyone, inside and out, that you have splendidly succeeded your father. As your wife, I, Natsuhi, am prepared to serve you until the day our coffins are laid down alongside each other. Thanks for the dots. Trying to encourage her husband, who was overcome with shock, Natsuhi lent him some reassuring words. When Krauss finally lowered the hands that had been covering his face, he looked up at the ceiling with a blank expression and let out a deep, deep sigh. Please, stay strong. There are a great many people who will plan to devour everything Father has left behind. We must fight to protect Father's honor and wealth. That is the first responsibility of the Ushiromiya head. Oh, wow. That is a very different expression. I understand. I do understand. Dr. Nanjo, Genji,
Please take care of the legal and funeral arrangements. Especially you, Genji. I ask that you take particular care and see to it that the funeral will be a fitting one for Father.
Certainly.
And Dr. Nanjo, Father didn't pass away in a hospital, so...
Indeed. An autopsy might be required, depending on circumstances. Oh shit! I keep on hitting my fucking microphone. I'm so sorry. Episode 2, and I'm already fucking up everything.
Can't you do something about that? Even though he has passed away, Father's body is precious. Any damage done to it would not be acceptable.
I understand how you feel. However, it is also important to deal with these matters properly. And, I don't really know how to say this, but several of the relatives might make things difficult, yes?
Nudge, nudge, Eva! Who knew how those vultures after the inheritance might try to find fault with them? They might claim to have found some reason to suspect the cause of death, using that as a point of contention to start some trouble. Right now it was important not only to pay Kinzo's remains the respect they were due, but also to solidify the position of the new family head, Krauss. Understood. Please keep it to an absolute minimum. Make sure that Father's dignity is not damaged, even by mistake.
That will be fine. Do not worry. In any event, leave Kinzo to us and stay by Krauss' side. Things will start to get quite difficult from here on out.
I understand. And you too, dear. Please stay strong.
Dots again. Thank you, Krauss. Krauss was still staring blankly at the ceiling with a befuddled expression on his face. She understood the shock and heavy responsibility he bore. Natsuhi understood her husband's feelings as much as anyone.
I will contact the relatives. Please rest for the time being.
Dots. Krauss didn't respond. Natsuhi, thinking him to be just a bit unreliable at the moment, decided she must offer her support. Seeing her husband like this actually spurred Natsuhi to action, and a resolute expression rose to her face.
Things will get busy from now on. Let's start by doing whatever we can right now. I'm sure my husband wants to have some time alone with Father. We should step out for a moment.
Good point. After all, this will probably be the last time he gets that chance. Being in charge of a funeral is tiring work. There's no time to shed tears. If Krauss were ever to be given time to cry for his dead father, that time would have to be now. Everyone agreed with Kumasawa's words. Even so, Krauss continued to blankly gaze up at the ceiling and didn't respond in any way. Natsuhi urged the servants to go.
I'll go talk to Jessica, too. That child is now the successor to the headship. I'll make sure to tell her to be fully prepared.
Wait. Krauss? Wait. As they each started to make their way out of the study, Krauss finally spoke. Okay, I figured it was Krauss. They stopped walking.
Yes?
Wait.
Yes?
Hadn't she already stopped walking, just like her husband had asked? But despite that, he told her once again to wait. From those slightly weak words, Natsuhi understood that he'd probably stopped her because he wanted her to be by his side.
The rest of you, downstairs. I will stay with my husband. Please call us on the phone if anything happens.
Certainly. I thought I told you to wait! Oh, Christ. When Krauss suddenly raised his voice, everyone jumped and turned around. Krauss usually doesn't yell like that. Unable to comprehend what she had done to spark her husband's wrath, Natsuhi ran up to him.
What's wrong, dear? Have I said something rude? If so, please forgive me.
No, that's not it. That's not it. Wait a second. Give me some time.
Yes, I understand. It's important to sort things out inside your heart. We were just going to leave this place in silence to give you some time, okay?
And I'm telling you to wait before doing that. Listen up, no one move. Oh my god, I just got a pop-up. There we go. No one move, not even an inch. If you're tired, then feel free to sit in whatever chair or sofa you want. So just stay quiet and don't talk. Don't do anything. Those unreasonable words felt like a glimpse of how Kinzo used to be. Natsuhi couldn't hide her slight surprise at this behavior,
which almost made it seem as though Kinzo had possessed her husband. Natsuhi told the servants to wait for the time being. She ordered them to sit on a sofa a short distance off, approached her husband, and spoke to him in a small voice. "If you order it, I will wait however long you ask. I won't move. So please try and calm yourself." "No, that's not it. That's not it!" Was it really blood, or was he actually being possessed? Krauss's disorderly style of speech strongly resembled Kinzo's. As she watched this, Natsuhi became certain that Krauss was Kinzo's son after all, and that he was the true successor, more suitable than any other person. "Natsuhi, come here." This is probably where they decide to keep Kinzo's death a secret, I imagine. Krauss stood up and headed towards the window, trying to lengthen the distance between himself and the servants waiting on the sofa by even a small amount. Natsuhi realized that he must have something secret to discuss. "Yes, dear. What is it?" "Father dying is bad." "But he has already passed away. We cannot turn back time." "That's not it. It's bad that it happened now." "What do you mean?" "I've been putting Father's fortune up as collateral. I won't be able to hide it when the division of the inheritance comes into question." "What?" This song... here of all times? Okay, I thought this was Gap Steam or something. "Collateral, you say? How much?" "You remember how I helped out Kondo back in Melodyland?" "Didn't I tell you to break ties with that person? I thought you said you'd refused him. Why?" "There is such a thing as a man's honor. I couldn't refuse." Krauss claimed to hold honor as a virtue. However, Natsuhi knew that he most often used this as an excuse for when he reluctantly went along with some deal that he just couldn't refuse. "That wouldn't be a problem if we had plenty of money on hand. But didn't you borrow quite a lot of money for the plan to turn this island into a resort?" "Yeah, I did. And there were people here and there who lent me a hand along the way. If I'm going to repay them, I can't just sit around on my hands. You need money to repay people. You need money to make money. You can't even get started without money. And even the plan for this island would be proceeding smoothly if only there hadn't been problems with the planning ceremony. I made contact with a government official in the city. I even got the governor's word that this would become the newest travel destination in the Tokyo metropolis. The groundwork I laid was completely perfect. Random chance and bad timing were against me. It was just a bit of bad luck, like a traffic accident." "That was no accident. It was fraud. You were tricked. They were never drawing up plans for turning this island into a resort in the first place." "That's not true. Hijikata's vision was simply overflowing with foresight. The way his eyes always focused on the whole world and the future taught me that things I always believed to be mere dreams were only the tip of the iceberg of what is possible. Expand your dreams to the whole world, to the future. You heard him say that too, right?" "Yes, I heard, and I think I remember telling you what I thought after we returned home. I said that he was suspicious, that he only spoke of dreams and didn't have his feet planted on the ground, and that you must not have any further relations with him. Hijikata is a wonderful, pleasant young man. One could learn a lot from the way he lives. I can respect him despite his youth. I won't have you insulting him." "That's what you said about the whole moon tourism thing. You kept saying it was visionary, that it looked to the future, that it had high aspirations, and what was the end result? Eventually, you yourself admitted that it was utter nonsense, right? I was sure something was wrong ever since that strange man showed up claiming to be a high-ranking NASA official." NASA, okay. Is it Krauss now? That foreigner was nothing more than an international swindler. Both Mr. Sonezaki and I were victims in that case. Right now, his vision isn't mistaken. In the future, there will surely come a time when the richest people in the world develop a liking for space travel. And the very first enterprise in that area will probably be monopolized by a single private company. That viewpoint is not mistaken. There was simply a group of international swindlers who were trying to take advantage of that fact and deceive investors across the world, and I'm trying to tell you that the Sonezaki man was one of them too. That kind of sounds similar to Sonozaki. Interesting. probably not important, but just a little clever parallel. Just how gullible are you? Why do you always just accept these suspicious offers without any doubts? Take that back. Mr. Sonezaki is a man with a brilliant future ahead of him. There's nothing suspicious about him. Because the dreams he speaks of anticipate the future, they sound crazy to people who can't see into the future. A woman like you can't see into the future. Yes, a woman like me can see into the future, but I can see the present. Right in front of me, I can see a pitiful husband who's been taken in by sly, double-crossing swindlers, and still trust them implicitly, even after he's been tricked. Shut your mouth! You don't understand anything about money or business or economics. Same. Don't try to butt in on your husband's job. A wife should be satisfied with doing housework. Keep your mouth shut. I mean, it's the 80s, not the 50s. So, Christ. Without another word, Natsuhi fell silent, just as Krauss had hoped she would. She was already far beyond anger and sadness, and the emotion that lay on the other side of those was an almost indifferent pity. Krauss, who had been in awe of Kinzo since he was very young, had started to subconsciously admire the way his father lived. Without realizing it, he had come to believe that he could only be recognized as a man in his own right if he surpassed his father. However, Kinzo had been a mad genius, the likes of which had never before been seen in the Ushiromiya family's long history. That talent was a gift from heaven, and it definitely wasn't genetic, much less something that could be learned. Okay, they just argued forever. To give the two of them a chance to talk alone, Natsuhi told the servants not to tell anyone about Kinzo's death, and they left the room for the time being. And then they hid the body, I'd assume, and probably... Okay. Wait, which bedroom is this? Is this Jessica's or Natsuhi's? I don't know! Then she invited Krauss to her bedroom, and made him tell her everything about their current financial situation. Okay, this is Natsuhi's room then. These were things that Natsuhi hadn't been told about, under the assumption that a woman had no business knowing. Natsuhi had herself made a point of avoiding this area in the past, thinking that it wasn't a wife's place to intrude on such matters. However, this might also have meant that she had abandoned her duty as a wife to protect her family. The depths of this sin had been made quite clear to Natsuhi. There's that sin again. Well, that's not the same one mentioned in Questions Arc, I don't think. That's probably just wording. Krauss was probably tired of trying to defend himself. Perhaps because he had gotten a headache, he hid his face and sank into silence. Natsuhi noticed that the water in the electric kettle was boiling and stood up to refill her cup with black tea. When she touched the cup of black tea, she noticed for the first time. The sound of the cup and saucer clinking together told her that her fingers were shaking. Ah. Krauss had built up a large debt to obtain funds for his various projects, and to cover the losses when they failed. Of course, he had put the mansion and property up as collateral. However, doing such a thing above board would result in the mortgage being registered. In other words, there would be a record that Krauss had put Kinzo's wealth up as collateral to obtain a loan without anyone's permission. What the hell was that sound? That was a weird sound. Kinzo, Eva, and the others must not learn of such a thing. Therefore, Krauss had been putting those assets up as collateral using the worst possible method. I signed over the deeds and power of attorney. And what does that mean? What Krauss was saying probably meant that he had, in essence, signed away the rights to his assets. If these assets had been used as collateral for a loan, then Krauss would still have some leeway under the law. He would have to deal with a bank, which would have absolutely no compassion, but they would be able to work something out within the rules set by society. However, signing away the deed and power of attorney was a whole different story. In other words, even the mansion they were living in. If the person holding the deed were to decide to ignore his agreement with Krauss, and sell the mansion to a third party right this moment, they would have no recourse whatsoever. Far from using collateral for a loan, this was basically the same as selling their house to borrow money. So they're kinda fucking boned. Granted, they'll die, but still. In other words, the moneylenders have the power to make or break the Ushiromiya family as they please. If they were to suddenly sell our house on some slight whim, we'd have to pack our bags and leave right now, wouldn't we?
That is technically true. However, everyone I have had dealings with is very reputable. This isn't consumer financing. It's a transaction based on trust between economically literate men. I trust them, and they, in turn, trust that by lending me money, I will achieve great success in business and give them massive returns on their investment. I signed over the power of attorney as a sign of good faith, and so that they wouldn't have to doubt in the certain success of my business. What happens if I hesitate now? Wouldn't that mean even I have no confidence in my own business?
If you were such a successful businessman, we wouldn't be in debt now, would we? Natsuhi only barely stopped herself from saying that. Father is dead. What happens next? Will your debt be exposed to the light of day? And will your siblings hold you responsible?
That won't be all. It will probably lead to criminal charges.
Criminal charges? Why is that?
It's better if you don't know. Anyway, this must not be learned of by anyone.
Krauss looked at the floor shamefully, shaking his head over and over. If it would come to criminal charges, then he must have broken some laws.
What was your first clue?
He's probably been so intent on raising a large sum of money that nothing had mattered to him but survival. Krauss had seriously believed that he would succeed with several businesses, and that he would definitely gain huge profits. So he had figured that even if he stepped over a few legal lines, he would be able to pay everything back before too long and pretend that the whole thing had never happened. This may I think that's supposed to say have. This may have been the factor that lessened his resistance towards breaking a couple laws. And now Kinzo's death, the worst possible thing, had occurred, and they wouldn't be able to keep it all hidden for long. What will happen to us?
There is no need to worry. You may not believe it, but conditions are most certainly on the rise now. The value of the city real estate I invested in will rise rapidly. Right now, I am working on a project to integrate those and construct a massive business tower. This will be the most reliable of all my investments so far and will prove to be the most successful.
But are you sure?
However, it will take a little more time for that to bear fruit. It's absolutely certain, but that doesn't mean it will happen now.
Will the success of that venture be enough to pay back our debts?
Of course it will. I'll be able to wipe out all the debt I've accumulated so far. So have faith in me. I only need a little more time.
But Father is already dead. We don't have that kind of time anymore, do we?
I know that. That's why I have to obtain money from somewhere and pay off those debts right now. Anyway, I need money. Money. A lot of it right now. Ah!
Okay. As Krauss roared and clutched at his head, he writhed about as if in pain. As she watched, several emotions swirled about in Natsuhi's chest. Her emotions conflicted as she felt pity for her husband, while also feeling that he was a fool. And she felt a mixture of resentment and regret towards her own irresponsibility in letting her husband run wild for so long. Even if this day hadn't come, it should have been clear that they were in a very critical situation. And yet he had carelessly waited for this moment to come, and was now writhing about. Her husband was so foolish and so pitiful. It would be easy to let herself get fed up with this. However, she was his wife. For a wife, ridiculing her husband as a fool would run in conflict with her responsibilities. If he was a fool, then she would have to support him enough to compensate. However, she didn't have a clue what she should do. Since there had been such a massive amount of money within arm's reach, it was only natural that Krauss had tried to dip his hands into it. It would also be easy to tell him to be a man and give up on all of it. But that would also run in conflict with her responsibilities. She was Ushiromiya Natsuhi, the woman who had become Krauss's wife and sworn to support him, the new head of the Ushiromiya family, for her whole life. She had to somehow help her husband in his efforts to raise money. She understood it logically, but she couldn't suppress the indescribable dejection that seemed to rise up from the dark depths of her heart.
Smack.
That's right. Father's hidden gold. 10 tons of gold is worth 20 billion yen. If I had that... That's right, if I had that, all our problems would be solved. Natsuhi, that's it! The witch's epitaph! Let's solve that. Let's solve it together. If we can just find the gold, everything will work itself out. That's right, it must be hidden somewhere on this island. If we had that. If we had that! I'm gonna assume Natsuhi's just gonna be like, oh no, it doesn't exist probably. But then thinking back to chapter 1, Krauss did show Natsuhi a gold bar and prove that it existed. That hurts, dear. Please stop it. Krauss, acting as excited as if he'd thought up a perfect, brilliant plan, grasped Natsuhi's upper arms tightly. Natsuhi couldn't help but be dumbfounded. She wasn't just taken aback because she'd heard him bring up something as fake-sounding as the hidden gold. This was Krauss, who usually mocked the story of the hidden gold, saying that it didn't exist and that it was all an illusion his father had created to borrow a lot of money. That was why Natsuhi was doubly taken aback. Yes, let's have Jessica help us too. Maybe some things can only be solved with a child's sensitivity. This is a family crisis. All of us have to stick together. Yes, it's a fanciful riddle that Father created. We should be able to solve it, and there's no reason we wouldn't be able to solve it. It's the only way. Oh, Natsuhi, this is wonderful. We still have an option left, and right here next to us. The gold is on this island. If we had it, every one of our problems would be solved. Natsuhi, call Jessica here right away. Let's overcome this family crisis together. Yes, right now. The gold is on this island. It's right beside us. Wah! He's turning more into Waluigi with every single sentence. Unable to withstand the pain in the arms he was twisting in his excitement, Natsuhi knocked Krauss aside. Krauss tripped over the edge of the bed and flopped over onto the floor. Please get a hold of yourself, and please calm down. Do you really think that this Ushiromiya family crisis could be solved by something as dreamlike as that? Natsuhi. Please, cool your head and think of a realistic plan to gather money. I'm going to go cool my head as well. Wait, Natsuhi! Maybe he had come to his senses the instant he fell over. Krauss tried to tell Natsuhi to stop, but she just kept walking. After closing the door forcefully, Natsuhi dashed away. Natsuhi ran through the corridor. Hello there. Ah! Fucking! Even though she didn't want anyone to see her like this, she ran headlong into Genji. My deepest apologies. Madam, have you been injured? I'm fine. Leave me alone. Certainly. Oh, Genji. How are things going in Father's study? It is just as you left it, although Dr. Nanjo is in the parlor. Is that so? Do you have the key to the study? Yes. Right here. Give it to me. Let me have some time alone with Father. If my husband asks where I am, tell him you don't know. Certainly. After grabbing the key to the study that Genji was holding out to her, Natsuhi rushed up the stairs. And into those study doors. She then flew into the study, finally let out a wail, and cried. Imagine it happened, at least. Oh, no, here it is. Father, please forgive our foolishness. My husband and I aren't capable of inheriting all that you created. Please, please, forgive us for our foolishness and our crimes. And if you can forgive us, please guide the way for us fools. Clinging to Kinzo as he slept into bed, Natsuhi cried even harder. She kept imagining Kinzo sitting up and suddenly patting her head. No, Father isn't the type of person to pamper. More likely, he'd yell at me to stop being so noisy. However, neither of these imaginations came true, because it was an undeniable fact that Kinzo had entered an eternal sleep. But even so, Natsuhi begged the sleeping Kinzo to forgive and help them. It was still only a few hours after his passing. Perhaps his soul was still here, listening to her. Believing this, Natsuhi begged for Kinzo's forgiveness and help even more earnestly. Ooh. Okay. I'd assume this is Kinzo, even though he's dead.
Too noisy! Haven't I always said that I hold silence as a virtue?
So this is obviously fantasy. Unless he never died! Yet, at least. Because we don't really know when this is. Huh. That voice made Natsuhi jump up in surprise.
I lived, bitch.
Holy shit, you're back!
What do you mean I'm back? I just sleep very deeply.
When she faced in the direction that the voice had come from, she saw Kinzo sitting at the study desk, folding up his reading glasses.
Did you get in a fight with Krauss again? Neglecting his wife like that. That Krauss only inherited my bad traits.
Father?
What a wretched-looking face. Wash it. Aren't you the wife of the successor of the Ushiromiya family? You mustn't let the servants see you wear such a shameful expression.
Yes, Father. My apologies. Natsuhi understood. This was just an illusion, one that Natsuhi had created out of her desire to speak with a memory of Kinzo as he once was. No, that wasn't it. She believed that just for now, Kinzo's soul had shown itself to her. She was sure that doubting this would cause it to vanish in an instant.
It seems that at the instant the family headship was passed on, the family has reached a crisis.
Yes, Father. I wasn't able to support my husband. I am truly very sorry.
Humph. The Ushiromiya family is so very cursed. It was in a terrible state when I succeeded the headship too. That makes your suffering seem almost cute in comparison.
Kinzo's succession to the family headship had come suddenly. At the time, he had been nothing more than a single young man from a branch family, far separated from the Ushiromiya main family. The main family might have had honor and tradition, but Kinzo had nothing to do with that. Then, the principal members of the main family were wiped out in the Great Kanto earthquake, along with their businesses. On top of that, there had been a complicated antagonism between the members of the family at the time, and the elders had all tried to impose their will on the others in that sinking ship. Because of this, they weren't even able to elect a leader to revive the Ushiromiya family. They then found a common ground and selected Kinzo, a youth with absolutely no ties to any of the opposing elders, to be the head. So the elders hadn't really entrusted Kinzo with the rebuilding of the Ushiromiya family. Kinzo had been nothing more than their puppet, with his arms and legs pulled in opposite directions. Yes, I know a lot about your days of suffering, Father.
And then, the war started. At the time, I was already tired of life. I hoped I would die on the battlefield, but I wasn't sent to the front lines. However, the state of the war grew worse with every day, and the time for the decisive battle on the Japanese mainland seemed to grow ever closer. As terrible as it may sound, I prayed for that day to come quickly.
After listening to the approaching footsteps of that Reaper day in and day out, it is said that Kinzo started cutting his ties with this world one by one. And then on that day when he had severed all his regrets, when he reached the state of enlightenment, it is said that he had a mystical experience. It is said that he met her, the Golden Witch Beatrice.
I made a contract with the witch, and was given the power of gold and madness. On that day, the old me died, and a new me possessing the insane power of magic was born.
I know. And after the war, you used your ingenious cunning to revive the Ushiromiya family. The now-deceased elders who knew Kinzo at the time had whispered to each other that Kinzo must have bumped his head on the battlefield and returned with a different personality. That was how much Kinzo had stood out after the war. Whether the story about Kinzo meeting a witch was true or not, there could be no doubt that the extraordinary experience of war had prepared him for death and let him reach a state of enlightenment. If he wanted to describe the mystical experience following all that as a meeting with a witch, that claim certainly shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. That's right. You returned from the war, conquered the witch Beatrice, and became the head of the Ushiromiya family in the truest sense.
Correct. Before I met Beatrice, I was nothing more than a puppet. Only the head in name. I only became the head after conquering the Golden Witch.
Father, will this Golden Witch aid my husband Krauss, now that he's the new head?
Oh, she will. Assuming that he has truly succeeded the headship.
What do you mean by truly succeeded?
I mean, it depends on whether he bears the responsibility and pride of the Ushiromiya family head in the truest sense. Natsuhi, you should understand this. The headship is not inherited by blood. It is inherited through spirit and conviction. Even though Krauss is my eldest son, he cannot be called the true head if he does not possess these things. And if that spirit were to dwell in a human, even someone other than Krauss, they would make a splendid new head. Beatrice will lend her power to that true head. Isn't that right, Beatrice?
Uh-oh. Is she actually showing up, or is this just... Oh boy. When Kinzo called the witch's name, gold butterflies seethed out of every corner in the room. And this song again, yes! This fantastical scene had an otherworldly beauty to it. It was like standing in the midst of a blizzard of golden flower petals being blown about a rose garden of gold. As Natsuhi stared at the scene in shock, the gold butterflies gathered and formed a human shape. Hello there, Beatrice, now being normal. Not crazy and not empty. Then the witch of the portrait appeared. Indeed, I am the Ushiromiya family alchemist, the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am free to run rampant. I listen to no one's orders.
Wow, okay. And there's only one person in the world who can control her. Me. That is why I am qualified to be the Ushiromiya family head.
So it's that pride of yours that qualifies you?
Pride requires self-confidence and bravery. And it is the embodiment of the insatiable desire to gain power to match those traits. That is why I control you.
Watching men who speak of pride turn those desires into reality can be quite pleasant. The quiet man of action is nothing more than an excuse used by the extremely lucky. A true monarch also speaks of what he doesn't have, and he makes that pride a reality without fail. If one is to control me, they must possess such a monarch's pride.
Do you understand, Natsuhi? A true monarch fears no hardship. They declare that they will overcome anything without fail, even if they haven't yet figured out how. This gives hope to the weak. They gather, revere the monarch, and swear to assist him. This is where power is gained and his word is carried out. Engrave that into your heart.
Yes, father. Natsuhi understood. Through this mystical experience, Kinzo was telling her how to prepare herself to overcome hardship, even after his own death. Feeling a warm sensation rise up in her chest, she let the valuable words Kinzo had given her echo through her mind over and over. Now that I think about it, him saying, carve that into your heart, wasn't there one point in chapter 3 or 4, something along those lines, I don't remember exactly when, Kinzo said something to Natsuhi, like,
you have the Ushiromiya name engraved into your heart or something, yada yada.
I don't remember exactly, but whatever. A true monarch, in other words, the true head of the Ushiromiya family, must not fear hardship. Such a person must believe they can overcome any hardship. If they can't even believe it about themselves, then they'll have no chance of overcoming their challenges. She suddenly felt very ashamed of the way she'd entered this room, sobbing and asking Kinzo what to do. Who's talking? Probably Natsuhi? I was foolish.
Dots.
Of course there's no time for crying when the Ushiromiya family crisis is upon us. And now that we have inherited the Ushiromiya family from you, father, we must protect its honor no matter what. Oh! Even though you can't even draw a blueprint on how to repay Krauss's debts? Beatrice laughed unpleasantly. No, that wasn't it. She was testing Natsuhi to see whether she possessed the mental readiness to be a true monarch. Natsuhi wasn't confused anymore. She answered clearly, gazing into Beatrice's eyes. Yes. At this moment, I have not yet discovered the method we should pursue. However, my husband is the new head of the Ushiromiya family, and I am his supporting wife. So I will proclaim it in my husband's place. Let us hear it. Is she still talking? Ushiromiya Krauss and Natsuhi will definitely overcome these trials and protect the honor of the Ushiromiya family. You have nothing to worry about, father? That was... Maybe it was Natsuhi saying that. I don't know. That was a weird... Okay, whatever.
Do you know the scope of Krauss's debt, as well as the horrible state things are in, rather?
Yes. If the worst happens and we are ordered to leave this mansion tomorrow, we won't be able to refuse. During the distribution of the inheritance, the relatives might even file a criminal complaint. However, there is no need to worry. We will repay all of the debts before then and restore our honor. As she stood at attention with a resolute attitude, Natsuhi proclaimed this query with Ushiromiya, Kinzo, and Beatrice as witnesses. For a while, they remained silent, as though weighing Natsuhi's resolve. Then Kinzo chuckled and turned away.
How vexing. Why couldn't this person have been my son?
The very fact that a woman with such a disposition married your son is another sign of your great luck.
Beatrice, this is my final order.
Now that you are no longer the head, I am not obligated to obey your orders.
Oh, in that case, obey the orders of the new Ushiromiya family head.
You are no longer the head, and Krauss is not yet the head. Whom are you suggesting that I serve?
I will leave that to you. It is up to you to decide who is qualified to succeed the Ushiromiya family head, and who is fitting to bear the mark of the one-winged eagle. You will ensure that it is so.
I refuse. I won't listen to the orders of a man who isn't the head.
God, you're stupid. Wow. Have you always been this kind of cunt? No, this is different. This is a will. The last order that the head left behind for you.
Then it seems I will have to obey. After all, I can be quite accommodating.
Liar.
Huh?
You're only doing this because it caught your interest, aren't you?
I can't hide anything from you, can I?
Natsuhi.
Yes, father?
Go and overcome your hardship.
Yes. That might have seemed like a mere response to Natsuhi, but to Kinzo and Beatrice, it seemed to be something of much greater significance. Beatrice nodded deeply, and with emotion as elegant as her dress, she bowed deeply before Natsuhi. The Ushiromiya family alchemist, the Golden Witch Beatrice, is present. I shall give you my aid to assist the Ushiromiya family in overcoming another crisis. Thank you. I will need your power. We will most certainly overcome these trials. I will not hold back on my support for your cause, but there is something I must warn you about beforehand. I understand that your troubles now could be solved if I were to grant you a vast quantity of gold, like I did when I saved Kinzo from his crisis. However, that is something I cannot do. Is that so?
Sorry, Natsuhi. Beatrice's gold came from a contract limited to my generation. It was agreed that it could only be passed on to another if that person solves the witch's epitaph.
The gold is sealed away by the epitaph. As long as that is not solved, you cannot be given the golden magic. I understand. Then I shall search for another method by which we can save ourselves from this crisis. My husband said his plan would take time, but he also said that it would surely be sufficient to repay our debts. If we can buy enough time for that to happen, we will be able to overcome this trial.
Good, Natsuhi. Continue.
But Kinzo is already dead. The doctor and servants are preparing his funeral. You were about to contact the family members. By your own hand, you will bring an end to this ploy for time. How charming is the guillotine where you lower the blade yourself? Startled, Natsuhi looked up at the ceiling. There wasn't actually anything there, but even so, Natsuhi had found something.
So, the magical power has descended.
Natsuhi, have you made up your mind? What magic of miracles do you desire from me? Oh, fading to white. Back here. Oop. Okay. Do I keep going? I feel like that was supposed to be a scene transition, so I'm Oh boy, I remember the series used to always kind of fluctuate in how long the episodes were. But yeah, another relatively short one because, well, it's a good stopping point within 10 minutes of an hour, so that's generally how I'll do this, I guess. So that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Nothing, well, we were shown Kinzo's actual death, even though, well, he presumably died in his sleep. And we understand a bit more about his relationship with Beatrice and how the gold works, I guess. But other than that, yeah, just Krauss being stupid. As usual, thank you, Krauss, for being a fucking lovable idiot. Not like he's super stupid, but whatever, he makes bad decisions, and he's very unlucky with his business stuff. Because I'm assuming that tower thing is not working either. So, either way, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Oh boy, yeah, fuck. Of course I would... Okay, whatever. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!